All right, folks, welcome on back here and to close out our week this Friday morning, October 13th. Of course, you could tell by the ugly mug, this is not Fausto. This is Josh tagging in once again for him. So great to see all of our students and members alike, Jorge or George, I should say, Michael, Richard, Lauren, Michael, Brian, and all of our students and members, trial members included, alike inside our live trading room. Great to have all of them there. Great to have us back on social media as well, though, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Bill says, I need a shave. I tell you what, I look like a 16-year-old, 15-year-old when I shave. So I got to keep this going, Bill. It's a nice slight scruff, but we'll keep it maintained at least. But hey, before we start, I wanted to ask everybody, all of our students, what we were up to for this upcoming weekend. It's a slow pre-market. So I figure I start off by asking all of our students and members inside our trading room, what are you up to for this weekend? Doing anything fun or what? George says hiking in the Nevada Ruby Mountains with two of his kids. Very exciting, George. Of course, stay safe, but have fun most importantly there. Michael says baseball. Richard says nothing exciting planned, just a little relaxing. You can never go wrong with that. Loren, one of our new trial members, says going to a cottage to close it for the season. Okay. Brian says wrenching on the hot rods, fixing his hot rod, maybe the Oldsmobile there, Brian. Bill says snow in the mountains last night, hiking and snowshoeing, he says. Barbara says at the NASCAR race in Las Vegas. No surprise since I know her very well. She goes to the NASCAR playoff races there. John says football, golf, and another University of Georgia win. There we go. So, hey, if you're joining us on social media, we hope that you enjoy your weekend as well. Like I said, it's been a pretty slow morning in pre-market when you open up your platform and number 3, number 4 is up like 5%, 6% the most. You know it's not the most active out there. So it took a little while for us to get a nice move here this morning. This SASI trade, SASI, Sigma Additive Solution, whatever the hell the company is, led to a big pop from 250 up to like 7 and change you could see there. Let's pull up level 4 right away. Let's just pull up level 4 book map. I'll reset this here, actually make it a little bit easier on the eyes. Sometimes I like to set my book map a little crazy. So here, this is what it looks like right now. It's still not the easiest to read, honestly, if you're looking at these orange and red lines that go across the page. It looks like there's something out there currently at 660. It was out there since like 8:45 in the morning, just prior to that. But when you look at the order size, it's really not impressive. Like 3,600 shares at 7. There's like the 4,300 shares at that 660 price that I just referenced. They're not big orders out there. This is probably a super low float stock, trades crap volume day to day. Like prior to today, even like this week, the stock was trading 20,000 shares the most. It looks like 25,000 shares the most. So yeah, this is going to be a pop and drop. It's going to be a low float disaster. Let's just take a look. And the reason I describe it that way is because you take one look at stocks that we traded this week, TPST is BPTH. I'm losing track of my stocks, and all the others that we traded over the last 2-3 days, they all crashed back down, right? And, OPGN, all the others from yesterday. So SASI, the reason I bring this up, it has a 610,000 share float. That is how little of a float this stock has. Everyone kind of has their own definitions for what like low float is. So we're always trading a low float stock here in CTU, but we're not trying to hold on to that trade. And we definitely want to get out sooner than later. So for this SASI, this thing is extremely thinly traded, extremely low float. Be careful. It already popped up so much already. Granted, if we see a higher low build, perhaps like we're seeing here, there's a case to see another run. But once we get a lower high, that's where you got to be careful for the lower low, and then that's where that's going to crash really badly. So again, we'll take a look at a couple stocks that we traded from this week, even just to prove that point. Just look at SECO, SECO from yesterday. That's another one. What goes up comes back down, and I'm not even talking here. I'm talking here. I'm talking here. There's the other one, the OPGN trade that looks even worse. So don't get stuck holding that SASI trade or whatever that SASI is. Look at this. I got halted God knows how many times on the way up yesterday. This was crazy to watch. I had no part in this trade. If I was in from a low price, then perhaps you could hold. But when it reopens up and instantly gets halted again, there's literally no room in between for you to jump in. So yeah, it was fun to watch, but then it was actually also fun to watch just on the way down, so long as you were not in it. So yeah, just point being, the SASI trade, don't ruin your week. Don't start your weekend off on a bad note holding on to this thing. We'll put this on our watch list. We'll put this on our watch list certainly for the open. We'll see if this can make the higher low, higher high first. All right. So what we will do though is just really go from top to bottom now. The BPTH trade, at least that was one I referenced from earlier, popped yesterday in the after hours. Didn't get the higher high yet. Still holding basically under $1. I'll put this on our list too, though. It's a stock that we actually have traded in the past, like over the years. If you're a longtime student of CTU, which we have a number of us with us here this morning, I see Larry, I see Brian, Kathleen, had Leda, had the birthday guy Grant from earlier this week. So BPTH, this stock, we ended up trading over the years, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, honestly. Yeah, look back in 2019, this giant spike up and down on the weekly candle. This probably took place just on one day, 1 or 2 days. You can see back in 21, a smaller, pop to that degree. Again, if this can make a fraction of that type of move, it's a home run for us this morning. It's already up 131%. Perhaps from what we've seen this week, could it break higher? Yeah, it could. That's why we have the SASI on our list to at least begin. So BPTH, same deal, low float. Once it makes a lower high, be careful for the lower low, but see if this can break higher, at least at the open. Now, if I say that about these cheapy stocks that are like $1, that are like $5, you better believe I'll say that about a stock that's like $20. I don't know what happened to this stock, EH, this morning. I got a little time. Actually, I'll check the news. I don't want to just be totally ignorant, but yeah, normally we don't care as much for the news. We'll at least take a look to see what popped EH here. So EHang wins type certificate for, I guess, whatever their UAV system is, issued by Civilian Aviation Administration of China. So I knew that they were a Chinese stock to begin with, but it looks like they had some deal just with, I guess, major department within the government of China, and led to a big pop initially. But again, much like the other trades, actually, one thing I know about this stock, let me just go back to my trusty scanner. Not as low as I actually thought. It's still relatively low, 40 million shares. It is still pretty low, that number. I thought it was going to be a lot less. So it's still, to my eyes, a pop and drop stock, but we'll add this to our watch list now at this point for the open. I didn't want to put this on the pre-market list because A, it popped and dropped and that was it. But you're going to have a lot less volume on the order book in pre-market, at least compared to the open. So I'm hoping that we get, a lot tighter of a spread on this trade at 9:30. If we don't get it, then we'll scrap it from our list, but we'll give it a shot at least here first. All right, so we had the RDHL trade also on our pre-market watch list. I was hopeful to see this pop. It was like inching back up prior to the 8 a.m. move. It slammed back down though. So, it's not really around that $1 threshold that we normally scan for, that we normally put, on our watch list. I wanted to see if this would go, be like that TPST trade from earlier this week. Obviously, it didn't do it. So I'm not going to put it on our main list now at this stage. If it pops, then we'll call it out. But for right now, hopefully there's just other opportunity that we haven't seen yet. OBLG, much like the others out there, pop and drop. It's your Christmas tree formation right there. VS, basically same deal from the morning, up and down it went. GFI, is this a gold stock? Yeah, Goldfields. Nice little pop up. I saw Nugget up early this morning. Grant, probably a happy man with that in mind. Gold mining stocks up. I'm not like jumpy to put them on the main list just yet, though. I'd want to see like even more activity out of them. This is an ETF, TMF here, Treasury. I'm pushing up a little bit, but the bookmap's going to look awful for this one. I've seen it in the past. All right, so just like that, we're kind of like at 5%, right? We're already at 5% here this morning. Current time is 9:10. We're making good use of time. So if there's anything else looking good, folks, up or down, well, on the way up, we'll hop over to the loser side next. But on the way up, if there's anything that I missed, type it in, let me know. Hop over to the loser side here, see if there's any good shorts. We had a couple really good shorts yesterday, actually. Let me move my webcam in the trading room up a bit. All right, so just really quickly to recap, actually yesterday in the afternoon, a couple stocks just on the loser side. Holy smokes, this thing took a huge hit. Let me go back to the 1-minute chart. But this PMVP trade breaking all-time lows going into the afternoon, this thing just kept sinking for like a $2, $3 stock. It's not as often that you get a great short into the close like that, especially for a stock that's easy to borrow, let alone hard to borrow, and you can't get the share. So, this led to a really good drop-off in the afternoon. We had it on our watch list for that specific reason, but it wasn't just this. It was PMVP, and then it was also another one, RVNC. This one slowly trotted lower into the close, breaking all-time lows too. So, that is why we hop over to the loser side. We want to see if there's any good shorts going into the open, going into the afternoon. This is, I guess, down 4%, but trading like no volume this morning. So, this will be on our side list at least, though. All right, so OM down over 40%, took that hit in the after hours and breaking a little lower this morning in pre-market. It's easy to borrow, right? I mean, it would be ignorant for me to not put this on our watch list. It's cheap, it's easy to borrow. Hopefully the order book fills in a lot more at 9:30. It's pretty thin out there right now. Probably going to have more eyes on a stock moving up than there are eyes on a stock moving down, especially in pre-market. I'd say that too. So at the open, I'm hoping to see the spreads filling a lot better on OM and the others out there. SGH, you could say the same thing on. This thing just a little spotty on the chart, but took a huge drop in the after hours. I mean, if we get a lot that looks like this, then I'll just kind of keep them all on the side because I want something trading even more volume, like we just referenced. Something that has good spreads, good liquidity. I mean, there's actually a decent chunk that's down that 5+% here. I don't really see much that like stands out as like a known name though, like brand name stock, familiar name, PHIO, not a brand name stock, but stock from yesterday. Just wanted to show this. Or am I losing track of my symbols here, folks? There's another one. I thought it was PHIO. No, we did well on this PHIO. What was it from the other day? Am I losing track here? This thing had a pop and. Let me go back. Oh, I might need to set the number of days back. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Pardon me there. It's been a long week already. So yeah, the PHIO, we did pretty well on at least going into the afternoon. Big pop up, but then obviously another drop off. So just wanted to show that. All right. So, hey, if there's anything else looking good, folks, on the way up, on the way down also, let me know here in the chat board. I didn't want to just start tossing all these stocks that are easy to borrow on the loser side. JD, another one that's easy to borrow, but bouncing back up a little bit here. We'll keep this on our side list as well. HRMY, yeah, not much happening there either. So the only other one I said maybe to is SGH. At this point, we don't have a big list. I'll slip this on there. Richard saying Sava tanked after a recent report by the City University of New York implicated a longtime collaborator of the company in scientific misconduct related to 20 research papers. It's down 30% at the moment. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't click on it there at first. So that is pretty ignorant of me. I saw it hard to borrow. I just kind of skipped over it. That actually is a very well-known name for us here in our live trading room. So yeah, took a big drop yesterday, but already bounced up quite a bit. You know what? I'll keep this on our side list for right now. I really appreciate Richard posting the news on that because I wouldn't have even looked at it otherwise. So I'm going to write this down for our side list. We'll make the B list for right now. But yeah, it already bounced back up. If it was closer towards that low where it had dropped down to, I'd say it could be an even better short into the open. No guarantee it's going to pull back there, at least at this point now. If we see lower highs, lower low, we'll look to call out the short though. All right. George saying gold, silver miners popping pre-market. We saw that just before. So those are, on our side list, you could say as well too, like Nugget, JNUG, NEM. That's another gold mining stock. All right. You can tell I didn't do my hair this morning. So, all right. Richard saying UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle. Yes, that is correct. Abbreviation there. Brian saying TPST right now. That was in pre-market, right? That was before 8 o'clock, but it was down like 3%, 4% still from yesterday. And when a stock makes a second win type of move, like you saw at least prior to 8 a.m., I was very skeptical of continuation. So you might have asked, like, why did he not put this on the pre-market list? The trend looks incredible prior to 8 a.m., but given how much it popped and dropped yesterday or the day before, I thought this was just your second win type of move. And with that, I wasn't really expecting much more after, at least immediately at 8 o'clock. Perhaps now, since this is starting to rev back up a bit again here, maybe I do put this on our watch list now, looking for the higher high at TPST. Now, again, if this fails to make that clean break that we want, that higher high, watch out, run for the hills, because this already made this move up earlier in the morning and dumped off. History will repeat itself. So, if you get stuck holding on at least any longer than you need to, it's going to be pretty ugly. All right, so George once again reminding me of the Tupperware lady. There we go, Tupperware party. Made lower highs, so pulling back a little bit here. Not really too interested in it just yet, but again, another one I'll at least kind of write down on our side list. All right, so from Vincent, didn't want to leave Vincent hanging like last time, right? So OBLG, yeah, I think that thing was a mess, right? Christmas tree formation. What goes up comes back down, but that's been the theme of this week though with all of these trades. So if you could scalp it, kudos to you, right? And especially for any of the crazies out there that wake up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m. to do this stuff. That's not me. I like my beauty sleep. I feel like a lot of us like our beauty sleep here too. I probably need a lot more beauty sleep looking at this, right? So with that said, folks, all right, so we're going to finish up here, at least for the meantime. Chuck saying at the end, his sideless stocks. We'll take a look at those, Chuck. Why not, right? How can we not? Carvana, just to take a peek, up a little bit, but still very spotty. I'll even slip an IO and Q there, Chuck, too. Moving up a little bit, could be a decent play. We'll keep it on our side list. PLTR looking pretty steady. I mean, it's up like barely anything, but it's like on a steady trend up. I like this the most so far out of our side list stocks. TSLL, I mean, hey, if you're trading Tesla, you could trade the ETF there, right? So Tesla's making a nice little move back up. My AMD inching back up a little bit. There's a lot that looks like this. So out of all of them, PLTR looks like the best out of the side list stocks, I'd say. But for right now, I like the SASI, I like the BPTH still, the OM, and the shorts that we had on the way down, that the SGH trade, namely. TPST also, if that could break higher as well. So, hey, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., let me type my email here before we wrap. But if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me over a quick email or a question, josh@ctutrading.com. I'll be back at 2:30 Eastern for this afternoon meeting. But if you're interested in joining us inside our live trading room, you won't have to see this ugly face as much, but scan that QR code. If you're fancy with your phone, fancy with your camera, just get access to our live trading room. A bunch of us joined us from this past week throughout the Wealth 365 webinar. We ended up doing an open house yesterday, Fausto, that was. So welcome aboard to all of our new members joining us here at CTU. Please, this is actually a big blanket statement for all of our new members here. Don't look to trade. Don't look to risk any of your real hard-earned money until you go through our courses, until you learn really how we are doing everything here, how the pizza's made, essentially, right? Before learning how to go through it all, it's more or less gambling, right? So you could always do it on paper mode, demo mode. You could do it on maybe like 1 or 2 shares of real trading, but we don't want you to trade just yet. We want you to observe, just see if this is something that you could even do on a day-to-day basis. See if this is something that's even possible to do on a consistent level. All right, folks, but otherwise, hey, I'll be back on the mic in just about 12 minutes once the market opens up. Let's try and make some money together going into the market open here. I'll fix my hair. I'll talk to you all soon.